Sorry about that, I had to get something to drink. I was really parched. And then we're going to take the part number AX3113-1s, and we are going to screw that on to position that other unit into place. So let's get that started. There we go. Screw that in. It's kind of an interesting way to hold that on. Let's screw it on just till it quits moving. I don't think there's any reason to really over tighten it. Let's take a look at the orientation here. Okay, these need to be pointing up, so make sure that they are both in, let's see here, just looking at the parts, these are universal, yeah. Go ahead and just put them both on and make sure they're both pointing in the right direction. So we're going to slide this one on and do the same thing. So I got kicked out of the house today. It's Christmas Eve. Actually, it's Christmas Eve at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I think my wife is wrapping presents. So I got asked to leave, which is fine by me. I'll come down and build my car. Hopefully have this thing done for my Christmas present. Okay, we tighten that down just till this was snug so it doesn't move back and forth. We're going to have both of these pointing in the same direction. You can see here that this portion is to this side, this portion is to this side. We're going to call that, as I'm looking at the directions, we want those little humps pointing up for the next step. So the humps are pointing up. We need to take one of the little brackets that we just made, and let's take a look here. This one has the square area, and that square area, according to the directions, is pointing forward as we slide it in here. And we'll secure it with a screw. It's not a pass-through hole there, it's actually threaded. That's why I'm having difficulties. So let's put that on. And again, it looks like this little nub is pointing forward. So we'll put that in and tighten her up. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side off camera. And as soon as we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and install this onto the little chassis pod that we just built. Again, make sure that everything is nice and free and does not bind up. In step number 36, we're going to go ahead and install the sway bars. For this exercise, let's go ahead and install the sway bars into the center position, which is going to be right here. If these are down, go ahead and swing them up on both sides so that we can get the sway bar in. And then you're going to want to hold the sway bar so that the legs will drop. One side they won't go down, the other way that they will. Okay, so we're holding the unit like this to put it in, and we're going to put the sway bars into the center hole. You can see right here, and we're going to do that on both sides. And let's go ahead and turn it over and rest it on the bench and flip these two little units down so it holds them in place. And then this unit right here. Let's go ahead and swivel it down in until it positions itself in between the two holders, like so. And then we will put the screws in. That's a pretty straightforward operation on that. The next part, you need to get out your two little grub screws. And we're going to put them in the little hole here. Since the sway bar is in the center hole, we're going to put the grub screws in the center hole. And what that does is you can see that these brackets will accommodate different size sway bars. So what we need to do is to keep these from wiggling around like they do. And very simply, let's take the grub screw. And I need to find my right wrench again. Keep getting the wrong wrench. And we're going to screw that into, seeing as how our sway bar is in the center hole, we're going to put this screw down into the center hole. What we want to do is, as we're screwing it in, just keep flopping this up and down like this with your thumb as you screw it in. And just screw it in very slowly until it holds the sway bar up into position like that, just so it won't fall down. Okay? What I want you to do then is back it off about a 1/16 of a turn. You want this to go freely, but you do not want it to move up and down in that little hole. So let's go ahead and do that again on the other side. We're just taking the play out of it without it binding. So I'm looking at the other screw. This is one's going to go in almost till it's flush before we start messing around. Okay, now I'm just going to bounce that up and down with my finger. Until it quits flopping, just like that. See it quit flopping? Back it off about a 1/16 of a turn. Now it should be loose. Okay. That, my friends, is an installed sway bar. And that's what it should look like.